I am determined to see things differently. So a lot throughout this course, it does take us to a pretty intense depth, and then it jumps back a little bit. But this is really in the sense of, yes, we are determined to see, but now we want to be determined to see things differently in the sense of recognizing more specifically what is going on in our minds. So as now we're going to look at our thoughts, and we want to really recognize or attempt to recognize that we might be misunderstanding. So a huge aspect of, especially if we have any upsets, especially any rage or anything, regardless, you want to apply this to anything and everything, but we want to start recognizing that this involves a state of realizing that we might be wrong. Now, if there are any upsets, yes, obviously, we can all admit that you're wrong. Because the purpose of life, as far as what it wants you to be, is happy. Say, God wants you to be happy. So this whole scenario, if you were trained, if you were able to see this properly, then everything would give you this happiness, indiscriminately happy. That would all make you happy, if you understood it. So the fact that we think we know, and we're basing our lives off of our physical structure and safety and protection and all this stuff, which is justified in the world, but in the sense of recognizing that it is making us miserable. So we want to realize that we are actually wrong in what we think the world is about. We're actually wrong about everything. And as I mentioned in the previous course or lesson about cause and effect, and getting into recognizing what cause and effect is, we need to discover that we have more influence in our lives just by what we're thinking, what we're feeling, what we're desiring, than we like to admit. Things happen to us because we are happening in our minds related to the content in which comes back at us in the world. Now this is, in a way, you can say, karma's pretty extreme around here. That it's not just when you do bad things come back at you. But in fact, it's a habit of your mind, of the way you're thinking is the way you're going to be living. And quite literally, if you assume and think of things, negative things happening, or trying to protect yourself because you believe things could happen to you, and all this stuff is, ultimately you'll be getting into those things. You might even feel that way because you literally already had it happen to you, right? And so now you believe this or now you protect yourself in this fashion because it did happen. Now, the whole scheme of it is really the most protected essence, and what radiates protection and really influences everything around it is this discovery of truth. One that knows protection, one that knows truth, is absolutely protected. So we actually want to recognize that you don't have to worry about anything if you don't think about anything you have to worry about. If you're thinking about anything you have to worry about, you will experience justification of your thoughts. It will come right back at you about what, oh, you want to be worried about that? Okay, we're going to make sure that you have an experience. Like you worried about money? You got to have an experience where you're going to be worried about money. We're going to make it completely justified in your world to worry about money. And this goes with everything. That your world is a manifestation of what is going on in your mind. So we really want to start questioning about it. That we think we're doing it backwards. We think I'm worried about it because money problems are happening. But really, money problems are happening because you keep thinking about it and trusting in the problem and not trusting in, say, God. You're not trusting in higher powers. You're not trusting in other options. You're not trusting in miracles. You're trusting in money problems. So you keep worried about money problems because they're going to happen, right? You got to save yourself from something that's going to happen. You believe it's going to happen. So you're dealing with, in your mind, assuming it's going to happen. Guess what happens with assuming? Yes, it's actually going to happen. You're making it happen. More than you like to admit. Wow. Like you're a miracle worker or something. So there's a lot of layers and degrees with all this. It's not going to happen overnight. This whole healing process, it might even happen in this year. You got to do this many times, a lot of times differently, and really digging deep into your subconscious and all these belief systems and ideas. So that's what this is about, is that you are doing this by doing these lessons. And you'll be guided to different practices, different courses, maybe even with me or with others, that help you to see things differently. And it would distort your reality simply because it is projected outward. You're experiencing the world the way in which you believe you, say, deserve about your reality.